Have you ever noticed how one person keeps appearing in your dreams, again and again, like a soul that refuses to be forgotten? Maybe it's someone from your past. Maybe it's a stranger with a face that feels ancient. The repetition haunts you, not just because they appear, but because of how they make you feel. Carl Jung believed this was no coincidence. In his view, when someone keeps returning in dreams, it is not a ghost of the past. It is the unconscious trying to speak through a symbol. Comment below, who keeps showing up in your dreams and how does it make you feel? In Jungian psychology, dreams are not mental noise. They are structured messages from the soul, spoken in symbols. The recurring dream figure is rarely about that person directly. It is often about what they represent, a part of your psyche that is still hidden, hungry, or wounded. When they show up repeatedly, it means something in you is ready to be seen, but hasn't yet found words in the waking world. The unconscious uses repetition when we haven't yet understood the message. Just like a teacher repeating a lesson until the student truly learns, the soul brings back the dream figure until you pause, reflect, and begin to ask why. Why them? Why now? And most importantly, what do they mirror within me that I haven't faced? Sometimes this figure represents love or desire. Other times they arrive with pain or confusion. But no matter the emotion, Jung reminds us, the figure is symbolic. It is the bridge between your outer world and your inner life. And through that bridge, you're being invited to begin the journey inward, to reclaim what you've projected, to meet what you've abandoned, to feel what you've buried. One of the most powerful forces in the psyche is projection. The unconscious act of placing our own inner contents onto another person. Jung taught that what we love or hate in others often reflects what we cannot yet see in ourselves. The person in your dream may carry your longing, your fear, or your forgotten power. You see them over and over, not because of who they are, but because of what your soul has hidden behind their image. When you dream of someone repeatedly, you may be confronting your anima or animus, the internal archetype of the opposite gender within your unconscious. These figures are more than romantic ideals. They represent your soul's attempt to guide you into balance. A woman dreaming constantly of a mysterious man may be called to develop her assertiveness, clarity, or inner wisdom. A man dreaming of a recurring woman may be invited to reconnect with sensitivity, receptivity, or emotional truth. But not all returning dream figures are peaceful. Some appear with unresolved conflict or emotional charge. These are often parts of the shadow, the disowned pieces of your identity that you've suppressed to survive, to belong, or to appear acceptable. The dream is showing you what you've exiled. The figure who brings you pain may be a reflection of your own unprocessed wounds, waiting to be embraced. It can be tempting to romanticize recurring dream figures, especially if they feel safe or deeply familiar. But Jung warned that if we do not consciously reclaim what we project, the other person becomes a prison for our soul. We begin to chase healing through them instead of within us. We become possessed by the symbol, forgetting it was always about our own evolution. So when you find yourself haunted by their presence, ask not, why are they doing this to me? But rather, what are they showing me about myself? Dreams are not weapons, they are reflections. And every time that person returns, it's your unconscious asking, are you ready to look deeper now? Jung believed in meeting the symbol halfway. That means entering into active imagination, a process where you engage with the dream figure, not as fantasy, but as a living presence within you. Speak to them. Ask what they represent. Let them reply, not with logic, but with the images, emotions, or thoughts that arise. In this dialogue, the unconscious begins to open. The dream becomes a doorway, not just a mirror. If the person brings comfort, reflect on what part of you they represent. Is it love, Creativity, safety. The soul does not create ideal figures by accident. It builds them from your own unmet needs and hidden capacities. When you connect with the essence of what this figure brings, you can start to cultivate it within. The figure's purpose isn't to stay in your dreams forever. It's to help you become whole in waking life. If the dream figure stirs pain or fear, ask, what memory are they protecting? What truth have I been avoiding? Often, recurring figures come to help us face what we couldn't process in the past. The pain they bring isn't punishment, it's medicine. Your soul knows when you're ready to feel. The moment the pain becomes conscious is the moment it begins to transform. Some people find that once they've acknowledged the dream figure, something shifts. The person appears less frequently, or their role changes. Jung called this symbolic integration. When the unconscious image is accepted into awareness, it no longer needs to repeat. It's as if the dream says, "You've listened, you're ready now," and the figure, having served its purpose, begins to fade or evolve. Healing doesn't always mean forgetting. Sometimes it means transforming your relationship with the memory, the symbol, the face. The goal isn't to push them away. The goal is to recognize they were always a reflection of something sacred within me, waiting to return home. There are times when a recurring dream person carries an unmistakable emotional charge, longing, grief, sorrow, or deep yearning. These dreams often feel like heartache, as if the soul is remembering something your mind cannot explain. Jung understood this well. He believed we grieve not just people but unlived versions of ourselves, roads not taken, words never spoken, closures that never came. When someone who is no longer in your life keeps returning in dreams, it may mean that the emotional bond was never truly processed. You may have moved on logically, but your soul hasn't yet said goodbye. Or perhaps the goodbye wasn't what your heart needed. The recurring dream becomes your soul's way of finishing the conversation, letting you weep where you once held back, letting you forgive or be forgiven without words. Desire, too, can show up in these dreams, not only physical but spiritual longing. The dream figure might represent a kind of love, a union or emotional connection that your soul is still craving. In Jungian terms, this is not just romantic, it's symbolic union. Your unconscious is trying to guide you toward a deeper harmony within. But if you chase the figure externally, you risk repeating patterns of dependency or loss. The dream is not saying go find them, it's saying find what they awaken within you. If the person has passed away, the dream becomes even more sacred. Jung believed that the unconscious may continue a kind of psychic dialogue with the dead, allowing grief, wisdom, or even closure to unfold long after the physical departure. Whether you believe it's their spirit or your own soul's echo, these dreams hold power. Don't dismiss them. Let them be the sacred space where goodbye turns into peace. Sometimes, these recurring dreams are not about resolution, but acknowledgement. The soul may be asking, can you accept that this part of your story still lives inside you? Not to be relived, but to be understood. The past does not always need to be released. Sometimes it needs to be witnessed. When we fear a recurring dream figure, it's usually because they bring us into contact with parts of ourselves we've avoided. Jealousy, guilt, shame, desire, rage. Jung called these elements the shadow, not evil, not bad, simply unconscious. And anything we push into the unconscious will eventually push back, often through dreams, especially through people we think we've left behind. To face the recurring figure is to face your own unfinished self. That's why it feels so intense, so real, so emotional. The person may have wounded you, or you may have wounded them, but their presence in your dream suggests that something in you has not yet made peace. The figure is holding space for your healing. They are the soul's way of saying, this part of your story still wants your attention. But integration is not about going backward. It's about seeing clearly, feeling fully, and then releasing the illusion that someone else holds your healing. Jung taught that once you own your shadow, it loses its power over you. The dream figure no longer needs to repeat, because the part of you that was disowned has been brought home. This process is not linear. You may see them one night and not again for years, but each time they appear, ask yourself, what is this moment revealing about me now? The symbol evolves as you evolve. Their role in your dream shifts with your healing. The deeper your self-awareness, the less power the repetition has, and the more wisdom it carries. And that is the great shift, from haunting to helping, from obsession to insight, from wound to wisdom. The dream person was never the end. They were always the invitation, and when you accept it, you begin to awaken. Carl Jung wrote, "Your vision will become clear only when you look into your heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakens." The dream figure who keeps returning is not pulling you outward. They are calling you inward, into your own healing, into your own story, into the deeper truth of who you are meant to become. Sometimes they represent your soulmate. Other times, your shadow. But most often they represent a part of yourself asking to return home. When you stop chasing them and start listening to what they represent, something changes. You begin to feel less haunted and more whole, less confused and more connected. The dream shifts, and so do you. Whether they fade or remain, you now understand they were never separate from you. They were always symbolic. The ache was never about possession, it was about remembering. And the more you integrate what they represent, the more you step into the self whole, aware, awake. Jung believed that healing was not becoming perfect, it was becoming conscious. Your dream figure brought you here, to this moment, to this reflection, to this truth. And now that you've listened, you are no longer lost in the dream. You are living its message. So next time they visit, smile. You know why they've come. And more importantly, you now know how to finally respond.